So we have it. Raw. A man they call Sting. He makes his return very unexpectedly. But first, let's run through the top to the bottom. We'll get through this Raw, which at some points was a complete bore. First up, we have Heyman and Brock Lesnar coming to the ring, trying to explain away the most complicated and convoluted ending to a match that I can remember. We have camera angles, we have timekeepers, we have referees, we have announcers, we have tap outs, we have pass outs, we have middle fingers. Trying to make sense of this. I still don't know what happened. I don't think anyone knows what happened still. We're still trying to figure out what happened at SummerSlam. Books will be written about this. Nobody's ever going to figure this out. This will be the great mystery of our time. What happened at SummerSlam? At the end of this, Heyman gives a great promo. We have the great Bo Dallas coming out and just going to Suplex City. Took a couple wicked suplexes, F5s, the whole thing. It was pretty exciting to see, but feel bad for Bo at the same time. Next up, we have what should have happened at SummerSlam. We have a one-on-one tag team match. Lucha Dragons versus the New Day. We have primetime players on commentary. And first off, let me just say, New Day coming out, playing the trombone, singing a song. They are becoming the most entertaining tag team in a long time. Might I even say since Team Hell No. They are genuinely entertaining. This match was great. The Lucha Dragons show why they belong on the main roster, and we should see a lot more of them. The match was just a good match. And then at the end, we have the Dudley Boys returning out of nowhere. Now, a lot of fans were definitely excited about that, but when you're watching it back and you think to yourself, you have the primetime players on commentary, and it's a little awkward for them. Are they going to fight the Dudley Boys now, or the Dudley Boys fighting the New Day? I think it was the wrong moment for them to come out. They should have came out. The New Day should have beaten down the Lucha Dragons, the primetime players. I feel bad for them. They had to sit there awkwardly and watch this. Overall, an exciting segment of the show. You have the New Day picking up the victory, but then you have the New Day also going to Dudleyville. So it'll be interesting to see how they can do this going forward. I just hope we don't have a fatal four-way tag team matches and all that crazy stuff. If the Dudley Boys are back and they're going to make a run, let's do it one-on-one. All right, next up we have Rollins backstage. They have the statue. They're getting ready for this big unveiling later in the show. Not much to say there. After that, we have Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose versus the Wyatts. Now, this match at SummerSlam, it was a good match, but as we saw tonight, it was definitely just a Raw match. Back and forth. Again, they have Roman Reigns become the Superman at the end of the match, and we're kind of tired of that. The fans were not behind Roman Reigns whatsoever. You have the combination of Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose, coming down. They're about to beat the Wyatts. Lights go out. Was this the return of Eric Rowan? No. We have a brand new Wyatt, and he is a beast. He is huge. He manhandled Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose like they were rag dolls. Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose pick up the victory by disqualification. It'll be interesting to see not only what happens in the present time with the new Wyatt member, but in the future when Eric Rowan does come back. Maybe they're going to have a super group, which I wouldn't be opposed to at all. So it'll be interesting going forward. I was wondering last night how this was going to work out the next day, but they probably should have thrown this in at SummerSlam, and probably would have saved that match from mediocrity. We come back from commercial, and what do we see? We see The Miz in the middle of the ring, ready for some Miz TV, and like I said yesterday, The Miz should not be a wrestler. He should just do commentary. He's great on the mic, and I want to see more of this and less of him battling subpar feuds, definitely. So you have Miz TV starting. He's bringing out the Divas Revolution, which I absolutely hate. the best way for WWE to kill the Divas Revolution is to call it the Divas Revolution and constantly say it over and over and over again to the point of, nauseum. Down in NXT, the women just fight in matches. They have storylines. There's no Divas Revolution. They just go out and wrestle. So when you have Paige, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte come out, I mean, the crowd was pretty excited to see them, but at the same time, what are they even fighting for? They beat the Bellas last night for what? Who cares? Doesn't even matter. So we have a pretty good exchange between PCB and The Miz. And then, of course, the worst part of the Divas division, Team Bella comes out. The crowd groans. They're not excited about this at all. They get in this ring. They get in the ring. It's like this awkward, like, is there going to be a cat fight? This is not what we want to see. When people say give Divas a chance, they don't want to see 6 women in the ring just pulling hair and just not doing anything exciting. The one thing about NXT is when the women are fighting in the ring, they're fighting. They're not just flipping their hair and throwing little insults at each other. So I thought this was the end of the segment. When we come back from commercial, we're having a match. But we're not having a one-on-one match. We're having a 6-women tag match. Another one. Great. Nobody cares. There's no stakes. Who cares who wins or loses? It doesn't matter. The match goes on. The crowd is not invested in it at all. We have CM Punk chants. We have this is boring chants. We have the wave. And the biggest chant of all, we want Sasha. Did we get Sasha? No. We had Team Bella picking up the victory on PCB for what? Who cares? And for all the people saying, you wanted the Divas Revolution, but when they're out there, everyone's chanting other things. Well, you know what? They're chanting other things because a 6-woman tag match sucks and nobody wants to see that. They want to see Bayley versus Sasha Banks in a one-on-one match where they're fighting for the title and all the stakes are on the line. We don't want to see a 6-woman match where they awkwardly can never get in sync because Team Bella barely wrestles. It's quite an embarrassment, and they're going to kill the Divas Revolution before it starts. I hope Bayley takes note of this, and when they finally try to call her up to Raw or SmackDown, she says, you know what, I'm fine here in NXT. After that, we have Stardust coming out with the Cosmic King, Wade Barrett. Stardust attacks Barrett before the match starts. Then we have Neville come out, and before I could blink my eyes, Neville was beating up Stardust, goes for the red arrow, Stardust leaves the ring. I don't even know what that was. That wasn't a match, so I'm just going to keep going from there. That was nothing. Next up, you have Jon Stewart coming out to explain his actions. He comes out to a great thank you Stewart chant, and he definitely saved SummerSlam for a lot of fans. He explains his actions away by pretty much defending the legacy of pro wrestling. Thank goodness somebody is. He does not want John Cena to tie Ric Flair's record, and I think 99% of fans feel the same way. The kids watching today, I don't think they really understand. Winning 16 titles in 10 years, I don't think that's very impressive at all. Ric Flair's had a career that spanned 4 decades, and he won those 16 titles in 40 years, or in 4 decades, should I say, not in 10 years. So I think it's a little more accomplished that Ric Flair was able to do it over a much longer period of time than John Cena ever will. So you have Jon Stewart explaining away his actions. Of course, the Nature Boy himself comes out. It was pretty interesting because Ric Flair is a Cena fan, but it's funny because the real fans like Ric Flair, but they don't like John Cena, and they weren't having that at all. A few seconds later, you have John Cena himself come out to booze. John Cena sucks, and he's trying to get all mad and angry. I was wondering what this was going to be because you have the fans totally behind Jon Stewart and what he did, and you have John Cena saying he's defending the WWE Universe, which is booing him, which makes no sense. And we go through that whole awkward exchange. Then Jon Stewart takes the AA. I think John Cena's biggest heel move to date. So we get from there, which, I mean, it was a serviceable segment. I mean, I was just happy that the crowd was chanting, thank you, Stewart, for that one. Next up, we have another giant 8-man tag. Almost put me to sleep. It had 52 commercial breaks between. You have Ryback, Cesaro, Dolph Ziggler, Orton versus KO, Rusev, Sheamus, and Big Show. Can you talk about a boring match that nobody cares about? Who cares who wins? It doesn't matter because they're just having the bad guys versus team good guys. And as someone on Twitter said, uh, look, ladies, this is how a boring 6-man tag match goes. Your move, and I believe that 100%. Who cares? I mean, they could have skipped over this. I would have rather seen a one-on-one match, maybe at least a rematch between someone instead of a 8-man tag match, which you have, Team Ryback, Cesaro, Dolph Ziggler, and Orton beating the team of bad guys. You have Sheamus pushed into a knockout punch, and then you have them picking up the victory, which nobody cares. At the end of the match, everyone beats up Big Show. Hopefully this means Big Show retires for good. We're tired of seeing him. One of the most boring runs of the past 5 years for sure for him. So hopefully they put him out of his misery. So I'm not even going to talk about this anymore. I don't think anyone cared. Now between this and the final part of the show, you have another 10 commercial breaks. You have them setting up the ring. And then you have Triple H and Stephanie McMahon come out, wish Vince McMahon a happy birthday, which was awkward and weird because the crowd wasn't even that into it either. You have Rollins come out, gives a nice little speech that drags on a little too much. You have your statue in the middle of the ring. I had the feeling right away that somebody was in there. I was thinking John Cena after he got taken out by security. So Seth Rollins keeps talking and talking and talking, and then finally they go to unveil the statue. You see these legs as the curtain rises in black pants, and I think everyone was a little confused. The curtain keeps going up, and who's on the statue platform? Sting. He came from obscurity. The last time we saw him was on the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, which he kind of left like maybe that was it for him. So he comes back tonight on Raw after SummerSlam to beat up Seth Rollins, which is interesting because, I mean, I can only hope that this means that John Cena is not in a match for the World Heavyweight title at Night of Champions. Hopefully, I mean, I don't care if it's Sting. It doesn't matter to me. I would be fine if he was fighting Hornswoggle or the Bull from Los Matadores, as long as it's not Cena in that match. All in all, pretty interesting Raw. The first hour was pretty strong. The second hour was god-awful. The third hour was more commercial breaks than I can even remember. Sometimes I would be zoning out so much because they cut to so many commercial breaks. I wasn't even paying attention when it would come back on. So this Raw, for post-SummerSlam, I mean, the last thing you're going to remember is Sting, and that's very well planned out. So you start off strong with Brock Lesnar, you end with Sting. People are going to say, hey, that was a pretty good Raw, but the middle of it was horrible. Hopefully next week they pick it up and kick into high gear and start some real feuds. No more of these 6-man, 6-woman tags, killing off everything, all the momentum they could have had coming out of SummerSlam. So with that, I'm going to cut it short. And don't burn your